What's up, everybody? Welcome into the show. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. Welcome to the PM edition of Crushing Fantasy Football. Today, I'm going to continue doing these player comps that I've been enjoying doing this offseason, and I'm going to be talking about Saquon Barkley and Jonathon Taylor. Now, these are two running backs that are being drafted in similar draft positions in most draft formats. That's why I'm comparing the two players, just like I compared Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson the other day and told you my preference on the two. I'm going to be comparing Saquon and Jonathon Taylor and telling you what I like about the backs and which back that I prefer the most. So I'm going to start right here with the first player I want to talk about, and that is Saquon Barkley. Now, this is a guy that is running behind a better offensive line than he's ever been running behind in his entire career. We know that the prospect profile on this guy was insane. We've seen him play at the NFL. From the eye test, this dude is an incredible running back. One of the best I have ever seen just from the eye test, and that was running behind a terrible offensive line with a bad quarterback his entire career. He never played with a good quarterback, right? So now you have a good quarterback that can run a good offense. You have a mobile quarterback that always improves yards per carry efficiency for backs. We know that over the years, you could look at years and years of historical data in fantasy football, and running backs, whether they have talent or not, always tend to have better yards per carry efficiency when they have mobile quarterbacks. So since Jalen Hurts is a running threat, it's going to open up wide open lanes for Saquon to run through. He is going to run wild this year. His yards per carry efficiency is going to be insane. This is an offense that is going to be in the red zone often. They're going to be scoring a lot. They've got wide receiving threats. This is going to be one of the best offenses in the NFL. And even though Jalen Hurts is going to siphon some touchdowns away from Saquon Barkley, they're going to be in the red zone so much that it doesn't matter. The amount of times they're in the red zone and the amount of scoring opportunities that Saquon has is going to more than make up for the fact that Jalen Hurts is going to be siphoning some rushing touchdowns away from him. Not to mention, this guy has big playability that we've never really seen on full display because he's played in a bad offense with bad blocking. Now with good blocking, look for him to be busting 30, 40-yard touchdown runs on a relatively consistent basis. I know it's crazy to say that you're going to do something, in the nature of 30 or 40 yards on a consistent basis, but this dude is explosive enough, running behind a good enough offensive line to where I think that the big plays are going to be plentiful this year. Look for him to have multiple 30-plus yard rushing touchdowns, receiving touchdowns, or using him as a receiver in training camp. This dude is about to go ballistic, could be the running back one. Now, I want to move on to my other player on this list that I want to talk about, and that is Jonathon Taylor. So this is a guy who he profiles similar to Saquon. I mean, they're similar in the size, speed department. Jonathon Taylor kind of has that elite combination of size, speed, and vision, And this is obviously a very rare combination for running backs. It allows you to have some of the most upside at your given position in fantasy. The reason that Jonathon Taylor is in the discussion every year for potentially being the running back one, the reason we've seen him be running back one before is because he has that combination, that elite combination of size, speed, and vision. This is a dude who is going to probably have a good season, but I think that people need to temper their expectations on Jonathon Taylor a little bit. And there are two reasons for this. One is Anthony Richardson siphoning rushing touchdowns, and two is I'm afraid that the overall offense just won't be nearly as good as Philadelphia. So when we're comparing Saquon Barkley to Jonathon Taylor and talking about which player to draft over the other, I'm leaning Saquon, but I'm going to continue into Jonathon Taylor and what I like and don't like about him. But I'm telling you right now, I'm leaning Saquon because I am suspect. The offense to me is suspect in Indianapolis. We've seen Anthony Richardson look very sloppy in the preseason. I'm not saying that he can't turn things around and be a good quarterback, but it's just that Jalen Hurts has proven. We know that Philadelphia, they're going to be a good offense, even though they went downhill a little bit late in the season last year. This is still an offense that is absolutely loaded with weapons. They're going to be very good. I'm not so sure the Colts are going to be the same thing. Now, what I do like about Jonathon Taylor having a rushing quarterback is the fact that, like I said, with Saquon and with other quarterbacks that have, or with other running backs that have mobile quarterbacks, it tends to help yards per carry efficiency significantly. So I think that yards per carry efficiency is going to be very, very good for Jonathon Taylor this year, but I do think the touchdown upside is limited because I'm concerned about the offense, and Anthony Richardson is going to be siphoning goal line opportunities away from Jonathon Taylor. And yes, you could say the same thing for Saquon. Jalen Hurts taking away rushing touchdowns, but the difference is that offense is so good that there's going to be more scoring opportunities to make up for the fact that Jalen Hurts is siphoning rushing touchdowns away from Saquon. So I like both of these backs to a degree. In fact, I absolutely love Saquon. I think Jonathan Taylor is being a little bit overvalued, but I still think that he could be a low-end running back one this season. When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, my decision between these two backs is Saquon Barkley. If you're at a spot in your draft where both of these players are on the board, and it's a spot where both these players typically go, I say you should definitely hit the Saquon Barkley button. He's going to score more fantasy points this year. All right, appreciate it, guys. Catch you later.